Hello there, and welcome to my new YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm going to be a little weird. I've never done this before. My name is Ryan. I'm calling the channel Gastric Measures, which was a suggestion from my friend Jim. So, let me just start off with just a little information about myself. I live in Detroit, Michigan, actually in the suburbs in Clinton Township, but close to Detroit. And my starting weight, I have two starting weights here. So um, my philosophy is that the weight you get at the doctor and the weight you have on your home scale, even if you do them 20 minutes apart, for some reason they seem to be like 6 to 8 pounds different. Um, Plus, these weights were taken like 2 weeks apart. But the weight I last got at my surgeon's office, God, my beard's a mess. Um, it's time to trim that thing. The weight that I last got at my surgeon's office was 440 pounds. I think that's going to be my starting weight as far as they're concerned. Um, I got my scale back from my mom, who I had it at their house for a while, and weighed myself on day 3 of my pre-op liquid diet and was 435.2. And currently I'm on day 5 of my liquid diet, and the current weight is 431.6. So, first of all, why am I making this channel is probably a good place to start. I struggled with this decision for a long time. With just a tiny bit of background, I had a lap band when I was like 21 years old. And at the time, the lap band was like the best thing in the world. There's nothing better. It's your best option. And I don't think I understood calories. I don't think I understood what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I knew the lap band was going to make me lose weight, but I didn't. I figured it was just going to happen. I didn't think that I really had to do anything. I was like, oh, I've got this band, and I went into, I saw a psychologist, and he explained it all to me, and I just kind of nodded my head, and yep, sure. I did all the stuff I was supposed to do, and just kind of got, I just don't think it actually sunk in. I think I was just like, yeah, just give me this surgery, and let's get going. And I was successful in that I lost weight. But what happened was, first of all, I had real trouble eating well. I'm a very picky eater. I'm hoping to get past some of that. But I had real trouble eating any of the foods I liked that I knew I should be eating. So things like a chicken breast. To the lap band, it made it really hard to eat like a grilled chicken breast or something like that. Also, I mean, I had just moved into my own apartment for the first time shortly after the surgery, and I was in college. I was not eating well. I would eat, soggy cereal. I would eat macaroni and cheese that I would just cook the noodles until they were mush and then eat them. I would eat stuff like that. And if I ate protein, if I ate actual meat, it was usually like fried stuff, and it was usually, not always fried stuff, but it was a lot of fried stuff, a lot of grilled stuff, and I would always have to dip it, and I mean dip it to the point where it was coated in ranch dressing. It was the only way that I could chew it up enough and get it to slide through my band. I also think I didn't realize what restriction was supposed to feel like, so I was using um, non-diet, full sugar fruit punch and other non-carbonated sodas as a way to wash food down and wash it through my band so I could basically eat more. And then there was a lot of vomiting, unfortunately, too. And somehow I still lost like 125 pounds and kept off probably 80 of it while I still had the band in. Shortly before I was getting ready to move to Chicago, I had an infection. I had like a softball size swelling at my port side of my band. And I went in and saw the doctor, and he said my band had flipped. Like the port had flipped, and he needed to go in and fix it. So this was like maybe 2 weeks before I was supposed to move to Chicago. So, okay. We did that. It was a inpatient operation, and then I moved to Chicago, and I the wound never fully closed. And again, I'm dumb and I'm a hypochondriac, so I didn't want to go to a doctor and find out what was going on. Um, and so I just was like, I don't know what's happening. And I didn't have health insurance at the time. When I finally got a job that had benefits, I went to a doctor who said, yeah, you probably have an infection of some sort. He gave me some antibiotics, and the wound closed up, but was still like, had like a little oozing to it, and it just stayed that way. And I saw multiple doctors who said, yeah, you probably have some sort of infection, would give me antibiotics, and the oozing would slow to a tiny trickle, but it would always be there. Finally, I saw a doctor, excuse me, that's my lunch. Finally, I saw a doctor who did bariatric surgeries, and he did a MRI on me, and he did a couple other tests and figured out that I had a massive infection that needed to be cleaned out, and that the only way to fix it was to remove the band. Then my insurance would not approve that. My insurance would not let me get the thing that was going to cure my infection. So finally, I moved back to Michigan, and as soon as I got a job and got health insurance, despite my wife at the time's urging and everybody's urging, I went back to the surgeon, Dr. Hawasley, who's going to be doing this surgery, and saw him, and I said, "What is going on here? This has been like 7 years like this." And he looked at me for he's a brilliant man. I don't that's just, he's a brilliant man, and he looked at me like for a minute, and then he said, "Yeah, you have an erosion. Your lap band ate through part of your stomach. Stomach fluid is going down that tube into the port site, and you have an infection, and your band has to come out. And let's schedule you for surgery, and we will get the band out." So we did, and that was a nightmare because I was in a hospital, left the hospital with a little bit of a fever. I wanted to get out of there so bad. Nobody checked my temperature right before I left, and I was pretty sure I still had a temperature, but I didn't say anything. I was like, this is okay. It's probably just because I have the heat up so high in the room or something. It'll pass. And I went home and took some, crushed up Tylenol, and I felt fine. And about a week went by. I didn't feel great, but I wasn't, I felt like I was healing. And I had wound care specialists coming to help me, and another week went by, and I still didn't feel great, but I was starting to kind of get out of the house sometimes. And then finally, I went back to work, and the first day of work was pretty tough. Day 2, I felt great. I don't know how I felt great, but I felt great. And day 3, I made it through 3 hours of work, and I was so tired and in so much pain in my lower back that I said I have to leave. I went home and I crawled into bed, and I was like, I've got to call the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, he had me get a blood test, and my white blood cell count was something like 22, and I think it's supposed to be 12. So I was incredibly septic, and they determined that the reason why was that I had a tiny leak in my stomach, and I had developed an 11 centimeter abscess in my abdomen. So they put a drain in, and the worst part, if you ever had a leak, I had to be in a hospital for 10 days on basically IV nutrition. So I had nothing to eat or drink, not even water, for 10 days. The closest I got to putting water in my mouth was those little like sponges you can use to wet your lips. That was the best I could do. And I was miserable, and right there and then I said, I'm never having another surgery unless I have to again. And I thought, really, I was like, I think I can lose this weight on my own. My wife was a personal trainer, and she was going to help me, and I was going to do it. And I didn't. I tried at times. I had various motivations between being diagnosed with diabetes, I kind of kicked into high gear for a little while, and then eventually slowed down to I manage my diabetes pretty well, but um, slowed down to where I was just maintaining again. I have a 2-year-old son, and when he was born, even before he was born, I tried to kick into high gear and get healthy, but after he was born and all of the things that come with having a newborn at home, it got so much easier to bring home pizza, 3 nights a week than it was to like cook good food, and with him, excuse me, being up at all hours of the night, it became very hard to get to the gym. All those things just kind of fell apart. Um, so yeah, so that brings us to where we are now. That I am now having this surgery on January 12th. I kind of decided with some urging and some soul searching that it was time. And Dr. Hawasley actually said something really interesting. He said, this is not, during the seminar, he said, this is not a magic tool. You are going to have to do the work. And I know you're saying or it's not a magic bullet. And I know you're saying to yourself, why, if I have to do all the work, why have surgery? And he said, well, surgery is a tool, and for a lot of people, you just haven't found the right tool yet, and this is going to be the right tool. So use it well, and that's what I'm really determined to do and hoping I can do. I have a lot of great support. I hate saying this, sorry, but my wife and I we're now divorced or going through the divorce process, but we are very close. We're really, really good friends and great co-parents and a great partnership still. And we consider each other family still, and she's part of my team. I have a friend in New Jersey who I met through Comedy Sports, which is a passion of mine, doing improv comedy, specifically with Comedy Sports Detroit. I met her at the Philadelphia Comedy Sports, where she's part of the minor league, and she's had this operation as well, and she's been helping me out a lot. And anytime I get a chance to talk to her, I'm always asking her questions, getting ideas for recipes. She's given me a lot of great resources, so that's been super helpful. And obviously, my family, my friends are all behind me as well. So yeah, that's my story. I'm making these videos. I started this YouTube channel and an Instagram channel of the same name, gastric_measures, which I can put a link to in the bio or in the description. I'm making these videos because one of the things that I did when I decided to start looking into this surgery again in like February-ish is I went on YouTube and I started watching people's diaries, and I'm going to screw up some names here, but I watched Chemistry Queen, I think that is. She was one of my favorites. VSG Brit Brad, who has been liking some of my Instagram pages, and she was one of my favorites. Obviously, I think everybody knows Experiencing Nirvana. She seems to be like the top dog as far as I can tell. Fly Girl Fitness. Those Fighting 400. For a male perspective on the whole thing. And those are all people I watched that were inspirational, and I'm going to tag them in the description so that they know that as well. So yeah, so I found those so inspirational. I was like, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do a YouTube channel myself. I want to do it for accountability. I want to do it because it's fun. I'm weirdly, I'm an extrovert, but I'm weirdly very shy, even though I'm an extrovert. And what's weird about that is, though, I also love the sound of my own voice. So, I host a podcast called It's All Creek to Me, where I talk about Dawson's Creek with my friend Johnny. And when we record our episodes, I listen to them 2 and 3 times, partially because I have to do the editing, which really we don't do a lot of, but also I just listen to them because I just like when I make things. And so yeah, this is another way to be self-indulgent, another way to hear myself talk all the time. As far as why I'm having the surgery, well, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of therapy and a lot of journaling, a lot of soul searching to realize that the reason I've never put my all into anything health related is a self esteem issue. I've never felt worth it. And working through a lot of stuff in therapy, I finally felt like I'm worth it. And it's time to do the work. It's worth doing all of this work to stay alive and to have the real happy life that I want. I thought that I was happy I thought, I have fun, I have great friends, I have, a good life. And I didn't realize, like, I never thought that I wanted to do physical things. And I think that I was probably kidding myself. So I'm looking forward actually to doing some of those things. I don't know that I'm ever going to become a runner or anything like that, but who knows? I just look forward to not having that limitation so much anymore. Um, and I mean, he's taking a nap right now. Otherwise, I'd introduce him. Probably not, because I don't want to put him all over the internet. But my kid, I love that kid. When we decided to have a kid, I did not think. I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to access that paternal, like parental and paternal love, and it just switched on. I know it's cliche, but it just switched on, and I don't want to miss anything in his life because of the decisions I've made, or the choices I've made, or the setbacks I've faced. So, yeah, so I have some pretty great motivation. Um, so yeah, what? Two more things real quick. I don't want to let this get too long, but I know most people's video diaries are pretty extensive. So, and I don't have any editing software, so what you see is what you get. So two more things just to cover real quick. What can you expect here? Um, I'm gonna try to do videos at least once a week. Um, Maybe more, and maybe after the surgery it might be a little less. Maybe when I hit those monthly milestones or something like that. But I may do shorter ones throughout the week. And I have, like I said, I have the Instagram, and I'm posting on there at least once or twice a day. Just all kinds of weird stuff, and that's something you can probably expect from me. I don't know that this is going to be just devoted to my sleeve journey. I have a lot of other interests. You can see Walking Dead behind me. I love comic books. I love nerdy stuff. Excuse me, this protein is like bleh. Um, I love nerdy stuff. I love to cook. I love music. I like basically all pop culture. I'm kind of a pop culture junkie and maybe a little bit of a snob, but maybe not. Um, and I imagine I'll talk about all kinds of stuff, but I will probably also have, I will have devoted videos just about my sleeve journey. But yeah, I'm hoping to make some fun videos. I'm hoping I can make some people laugh sometimes. It's something I do as I hate to call comedy sports a hobby. I mean, I don't. It's not my job, but I think of it as more than a hobby. It's a true passion of mine. If I could make it my job, I definitely would. But such is life. Let's see. So, the last thing I'll talk about is just what's going on with me right now. So, I am on day 5, I think I said. I started on Tuesday, the 26th, day after Christmas. So, today is the 30th. I guess it's day 4. Um, I'm on day 4 of my pre-op liquid diet, and most people I know did 2 weeks. Mine is 17 days. Technically, I think it was supposed to be 3 weeks, but I think the dietitian talked the doctor into giving me a break and letting me start the day after Christmas. Um, and they didn't really give me. I remember him saying he'd like to see me lose 30 pounds one time before the surgery, but then after that, they never really talked about an official goal weight or anything like that. So I think the idea is just to get as much off as possible, get my liver shrunk down as much as possible, and I'm doing my best to stick to it. I haven't had any real slip ups. I have put in my mouth that wasn't liquid um, one tiny chocolate ornament as I was putting them away and hiding them from my kid. um, that came from Christmas, like a little solid ball of chocolate about this big. Um, like I think it was like an eighth of a serving. And I have had one mini peanut butter sandwich cracker that I was pouring out for him for a snack, and one, I think they're called beanitos. They're like white bean chips. I had one of the Cheetos again as I was getting a snack for him, and that one, honestly, I was like, all right, I'm done eating any foods. I'm gonna really stick to this, and I took that bite literally to make sure they weren't stale because we've had them for a while. But he likes them, so I'm letting him eat them. I just wanted to make sure they weren't gross. So that's all I've had. I mean, I think all together that may amount to like 90 calories, maybe 100 calories. Um, the first day was really rough. Carb withdrawal is a real thing. And by the time I was getting ready for bed, I felt very, very sick. And realized as I was reading in bed, trying to figure out what was going on, I realized that part of it was not replacing my electrolytes, which is very important, apparently. And I was like, okay, well, I've got kids with me right now. I can't run out and get Gatorade, and of course I'm a bachelor, so I don't have the joke I've been making is that as a bachelor, I don't buy things until I need them, and I didn't have any Tylenol or anything to deal with the headache. And again, with the kid here and he was asleep, I couldn't run out and get Tylenol. So I was like, what am I gonna do here? And one of the ways I read to keep your electrolytes all up, people were saying put a pinch of salt in everything that you eat or drink, just a little extra sodium. And I said, okay, well, I haven't been doing that. I didn't have any broth today. So I'm probably very low with sodium. So I went and got a lemon lime jello, which I hadn't had yet, a sugar free jello, and put a spoonful of salt in it because I'm a genius. And I really thought it would taste like a margarita. It didn't. It tasted really bad, but I, shoveled it down as fast as I could. And, um, yeah, I got it down, and I actually felt better after that. But the next day, I went to the store on my way to work and picked up like 12 bottles of G2 low calorie and low sugar Gatorade and a couple of the 0 calorie, 0 sugar Powerades as well. And that's been helping out. I try to drink one of those every day throughout the day, in addition to water and these. Um, Another tip that I can give you that I got from Ashley, my comedy sports friend, when you have to do broth, the box stuff is okay. It's not great. I'm about to try it for the first time. I had some Simply Asian soy ginger chicken broth that sounded delicious, and it was just okay. Um, but I have some regular Swanson's, regular ass chicken broth, and I'm gonna try that today. And what I've been doing, or the tip that she gave me, was go to a restaurant or a deli or something and order chicken noodle soup to go, and then strain it, and that broth will taste much better because it's been steeping with the veggies and the herbs and the spices and the chicken and the noodle. Everything will taste a little better. It'll taste more like chicken soup. And I went to a deli near my office and bought a quart of chicken noodle soup, and they actually were able to give me just broth. So I got just their broth, and that got about three. I think I got 3 or 4 bowls out of it, 3 or 4 cups out of it. So yeah, and it was really tasty. And what I've been doing with it is a couple, like maybe 2 teaspoons. I haven't really measured it. I'm still on the first packet, which I think has like 8 teaspoons in it of the stuff I found at Meijer, which is a grocery store here, like kind of a Walmart-y type store. Um, and it's their brand of taco seasoning. It's like a cheesy taco seasoning, and it's just got like a cheese powder and regular taco seasonings. And I've been putting little pinches of that in there and a squirt of sriracha, which is like my favorite um, way to add a little bit of heat. I don't really like Tabasco or anything like that. I'm a sriracha guy, and so I put a squirt of sriracha and maybe a little bit of the powdered Parmesan cheese. I've gone both ways on it, but not again. I think it was a teaspoon, and 2 teaspoons is like 20 calories. So I don't think I'm destroying the diet by doing that. And I drink 3 of these a day. Here's a pro tip on these: don't let them freeze. Um, so far lately today they've been okay, but I left them in my car because I live on the third floor of a building with no elevator, and they would have been hard for me to carry up with all my other stuff. So I left them in my car thinking they'd just stay cold. Well, they froze. There's still some in my car that I have to bring up. I've been bringing them up in my lunch bag at the end of the day, like maybe 8 or 10 of them at a time, and keeping them, letting them thaw overnight, and then putting them in the fridge. When they thaw, they sometimes turn into like a sludge, and it changes the taste a little bit, but it changes the consistency a lot, and they've been hard to choke down, but I'm making it work. And then I eat, 2 sugar-free Jellos and one light yogurt. That's what I'm allowed. I've got Target brand strawberry cheesecake yogurt. Somebody on my Instagram on stories posted a thing about Dannon Light and Fit Greek toasted marshmallow yogurt, and I want it so bad, and I can't find it. I'm gonna keep looking because that sounds delicious. So those are the things I've been eating. My surgeon's diet allows for 4 cups. Oh, and broth, the broth as I mentioned. My surgeon's diet allows for 4 cups of lettuce with light dressing. I do not like lettuce, and who know? I know my taste buds may change after the surgery. I'm gonna start trying foods all over again. But for now, I'm not gonna make my life worse by trying to choke down lettuce. Um, so I've been fine with what I've had. It's been good. There's been times I've wanted to eat things. I've had a kid for the weekend and making his food. I'm trying to make him things that I don't really like that he likes. So like today, I made him scrambled eggs, which is, when I get to soft foods, that's gonna be tough because I do not like eggs. But I made him scrambled eggs and smoky links, 2 things I don't like, and I was okay to just like make those. But like I made them hot dogs last night, and I don't really like hot dogs that much. I'll eat them on occasion. We have this thing here called coney dogs, which are like hot dogs with chili and mustard and onions, and I'll eat them without the mustard and onions. Once in a while at the like really good place called Lafayette in Detroit, and that's maybe twice a year. I'll eat 1 or 2 of those, and that's about all the hot dogs I eat for a time. But when I was making his hot dog, I really, really wanted a bite of it. Um, but I did not. I was able to abstain. So, it's been up and down. Um, yeah, I think that's it for today. But I will, like I said, I'm gonna try to do these once a week. Um, Timing may vary, so just pay attention. Please subscribe. Please, drop me a thumbs up on these videos. I would love to uh, get some momentum going. I don't know why, but I care that people are watching. So I'm not gonna like tailor my channel to drive traffic, but I would love to know that you're there. Leave me comments, say hi. I'm really excited to be part of this kind of gastric sleeve and weight loss surgery community. There seems to be a lot of cool people, and I'm very excited to be part of it. So hopefully, who knows? I don't know who else is out there from Detroit, but maybe we meet in person sometime. I know they have these conferences and stuff. I don't know that I'd ever go to something like that, but you never know. Who knows? So thanks very much for watching. I hope you will hang out, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.